How's it going, guys, and welcome to another video by yours truly, Axel Williams. And in this video, guys, we're going to be discussing something, or an individual that I've wanted to talk about for a little while. Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And she's been the talk of the town since she was released from prison following the murder of her mother by herself and Nicholas Godejohn. Godejohn. He's definitely not Good John. He's not a Godejohn. He's a killer. And of course, Gypsy Rose Blanchard has, of course, parted opinion as to her character and the type of woman she is, the type of person she is, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Of course, she served 7 years in prison for, of course, being a part of the murder of her mother. But starting off, guys, of course, since she's been released from prison, she has attracted a lot of attention. From social media to doing TV interviews, Gypsy Rose has become somewhat of a celebrity since being released from prison. Now, love her or hate her, I think we can all agree that Gypsy Rose Blanchard has some kind of a cute charm to her. She has a cuteness to her that I think people like. She seems very sweet, doesn't she? Well, when you hear her talking in interviews, or when you know, even when you hear her laughing, a little cute laugh, it makes you kind of smile because she seems very, very cute. But like a lot of people, I do have problems in actually believing or understanding, maybe not understanding, but I have a problem in believing sometimes that she is just a normal, genuine girl. She doesn't, I don't know, there's something about her that doesn't, to me, necessarily strike genuine about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And with the news breaking, obviously, recently, I mean, this is probably the big talking point over the last 7 or 8 days, is that she broke up from her boyfriend Ryan Scott Anderson, who she was married to and got married to in jail. Now, I don't know about you guys, but, you know, he seemed like a nice guy, didn't he? He seemed like a very, very nice guy. He seemed like the kind of guy that you'd want to bring home to your mum and dad if you hadn't murdered your mum. But no, on a serious note, he seemed like the kind of guy you'd want to bring home to your parents, doesn't he? He seemed like a genuine guy, and he seemed like he genuinely cared about Gypsy. I mean, that's the one thing I always thought. He seemed like he was such a supportive, loving boyfriend. From the interviews as well, it always seemed like he loved the bones of her. It always seemed like he fancied her to death, you know. He fancied the bones of her, he loved the bones of her. He did seem like a loyal husband, and that's what he was in the end, obviously, because they got married, so he did seem like a loyal husband. And on the other hand, you've got Gypsy Rose. Now, this is the thing as well, he was getting a lot of hate online, he's been getting a lot of people abusing him online, and Gypsy Rose actually stood up for him online, you know, protecting him from this online hate. So that's another interesting thing as well. They did seem like a good couple. They did seem like, you know, it basically seemed like a fantasy thing, didn't it? Gypsy Rose released from prison. She's had such a horrible life for so many years, and now she meets this Mr. Wonderful, and her life's about to get back on track, and, you know, she's about to live this fairy tale existence. Now, there's a lot of talk online as to why the pair have split up. There's a lot of people, you know, a lot of websites and a lot of people in general speculating as to why Gypsy Rose and Ryan Scott have split up. And obviously, I don't know the truth. I don't know when you read things online, or, you know, when you read articles, you don't know what's true, do you? We don't know what's accurate. We don't know what's hearsay. We don't know what's factual. You can probably bet that a lot of it is not factual. But there are rumours going on that once Gypsy Rose left prison, the relationship seemed fine at the start, but then all of a sudden Ryan wouldn't let her live her life. Like, he was almost slightly controlling. There's also rumours that Ryan became jealous of the relationship between Gypsy and her father, post-prison, obviously, because she was desperate, to reconnect with him. And obviously, this created somewhat of a barrier between her and Ryan. And Ryan became a bit jealous of that. That's another rumour that's going on online, that's swirling around in the media. I don't know how true that is. I don't know, you know, what percentage of any of that is accurate. All I know is that they're not together anymore. But then you start to hear more and more rumours about other things that aren't even related, potentially, well, that aren't related to Gypsy Rose and Ryan. There's another rumour going on, and I don't know how true this is. It could well be true. It could well be 100% factual, but I'm not going to say anything about facts or no, you know, or not, or made up information, because I don't know personally if this is true or not. I haven't seen it. I might try and search. I've tried to search it, but I can't find anything on it. But There are rumours. I should have a look actually. I might have a deeper look online to see if this is true or not. I don't think it's 100% truthful right now. I'm not sure. But there are rumours that Gypsy Rose has had a matching husky dog tattoo. Her and her ex-partner have had this matching husky dog tattoo. And this came relatively soon after Gypsy Rose split up with Ryan Scott. Now, if that is true, that is very strange. Very, very strange indeed. But now I just want to speak a little bit about Gypsy Rose's character as an individual, as a person. From what I've gathered from when I've seen her in interviews, from when I've seen her, just basically talking on camera and having, talking about her experiences in prison, briefly talking about her relationship with her mom and the horrid time she had with her, and just things that you hear online, really. But from what I gather, from what I've seen of interviews or from what I personally read about Gypsy Rose, it's difficult to gauge. But in my opinion, like I've said at the start of the video, I'm not sure just how genuine this woman is. I'm not entirely convinced as to how genuine Gypsy Rose is, or how she feels since leaving prison. I don't think many people actually know how she feels since leaving prison. She might look happy, but we don't actually know what's going on in her mind. She's had a very, very traumatic life. It's probably fair to say she's had a very difficult life, a very difficult upbringing. For many years, she has had a horrible life. And we don't know what kind of mental effects that's going to have on her. We don't know what kind of mental effects that's going to have on her life. Actually, once she leaves, jail, we don't know if she's bitter about the fact that she has been treated that way through most of her life. Obviously, what happened with her mom for all those years, controlling her, and then going to prison. We don't know how that's affected her psychologically, is basically what I'm trying to say. She might be a bit of a disturbed character. She might be a bit of a cat in a bag. And to say she could be dealing with demons is probably a silly thing to say, because it's probably very obvious that when you've gone through what she's gone through throughout her life, with her mom and then going to prison, it's definitely going to have a psychological effect, and you're going to have some mental problems with that. Just to put it in a blunt way, you are going to have problems. That is just a guarantee. But, her personality is hard to gauge. It's hard to gauge in my view. Because like I said, when you watch her talk and you listen to her speaking, she seems quite timid and don't get me wrong, she's very well spoken. She seems very intelligent, articulate, but I don't know, other times, I remember watching an interview that she did with her, obviously now her ex-husband, Ryan Scott, and he was talking, and you could see she kind of wasn't too pleased that he was answering the question for me. I can't remember if she gave him a nudge or she just went, shh, quiet or something like that. I can't remember what she said now. But that was when people started to obviously doubt that relationship, I think. A lot of people, that was the blueprints for a lot of people as to why they didn't think those two were going to last, or why they felt perhaps Gypsy was too much for him or something like that. But then when I hear all these rumours coming out that it was actually, obviously they're just rumours, we don't know what's true, that it was him potentially unhappy with her, controlling aspects of her existence. If that is true, I can understand why that would potentially set her back, because that would just remind her of what happened with her mother. That would remind her of her past, and obviously you can understand that that would be quite a sore thing. It's definitely a sore topic, isn't it? If he was restricting her once she left jail and basically limiting her in a certain way, I'm not sure of the facts 100%, because I don't like to actually I don't like to point at facts or say this is true, this isn't, because I don't really know. But if he was, basically being like that, being a bit controlling or a bit possessive is the word probably. If he was being a bit possessive when she left jail, I can understand how that would affect her. And if that is a partial reason why they're not together anymore, that would make sense because of what she's obviously been through prior. And of course, she's not going to want to go through anything, not even remotely like that again, is she? I mean, after all those years she spent with her mom, where her whole life she was basically kept in a cage, you know, restricted from doing anything. So if... Shut up. I can understand why they've split up, but we don't know if that's true or not. Another question I have to ask is, has Gypsy potentially gotten a bit of, you know, has this partial celebrity status got into her head, basically? Has the fact that she's now left prison and became a bit of a star, has that got into her head? That's another question you have to ask as well, because I know some people will say it doesn't, no, she ain't like that, she's not that kind of person. She might be that kind of person. We don't know. You don't actually necessarily have to be that kind of person to grow into that kind of person. You know, she might have been a certain type of person when she was in prison, you know, quite humble and so on, but leaving jail, you know, leaving prison after 7 years and then getting all this attention, you know, on social media, interviews, she was in demand. She was hot stuff. And that could potentially have played with her head. But yeah, Gypsy Rose, she, for me, is... I don't know what to believe. I don't know what's true with her and what's not. But guys, I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on it. You know, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who really is she? You know, has it potentially got into her head, the fact that she's left prison and has now become a bit of a household name, a bit of a star? I mean, she's not like a global star or anything, but she's become a bit of a star, hasn't she? Could it potentially be true that, you know, her ex-husband, Ryan, was potentially a bit restricting of her, a bit possessive, you know, didn't like her doing certain things? Could that be true? You know, is that the reason why they split up potentially? But in my opinion, if you had to ask me right now what I think the answer is, I think Gypsy Rose has, in my view, I think the fact that she's left jail and has become a bit of a star, I think that has got into her head. In my opinion, that's my honest opinion, I think it's gotten to her head. I think she's gotten a little bit too big for her boots and it's changed her mentality, it's changed her personality a little bit. That's where I stand on it, in my honest view. But you have to remember as well, there's also the third option that, you know, she's had this traumatic life, she's had this horrific existence for so long. How much will that play a part in, you know, how you think and the choices you make, the decisions that you know, make in life? Because that's definitely going to play a part, you know. She was treated rotten for so many years. So, you know, that's definitely going to have some psychological effects. Guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts in general. Guys, obviously, like I said, like and subscribe. I will see you for another video very shortly, guys. Until then, though, take care of yourself and I will see you very, very soon. Ta-ta.